What's up, y'all? Another Bible study, Bible reading, Luke 22. Now the feast of unleavened bread, which is called the Passover, was approaching. And the chief priests and the scribes were seeking how they might put him to death, for they were afraid of the people. And Satan entered into Judas, who was called Iscariot, belonging to the number of the 12 apostles. Just like Satan's going to enter the Antichrist here in the end times. And he went away and discussed with the chief priests and officers how he might betray him to them. They were glad and agreed to give him money. So he consented and began seeking a good opportunity to betray him to them, apart from the crowd. Then came the first day of unleavened bread, on which the Passover lamb had to be sacrificed. And Jesus sent Peter and John, saying, "Go and prepare the Passover for us, so that we may eat it." They said to him, "Where do you want us to prepare it?" And he said to them, "When you have entered the city, a man will meet you carrying a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house that he enters. And you shall say to the owner of the house, 'The teacher says to you, where is the guest room in which I may eat the Passover with my disciples?' And he will show you a large furnished upper room. Prepare it there." And they left, and they found everything just as he had told them. And they prepared the Passover. When the hour had come, he reclined at the table, and the apostles with him. And he said to them, "I have earnestly desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. For I say to you, I shall never eat it again until it's fulfilled in the kingdom of God." See, we're going to be keeping Passover in the kingdom of God, in the millennial kingdom. And when he had taken a cup and given thanks, he said, "Take this and share it among yourselves. For I say to you, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine from now on until the kingdom of God comes." And when he had taken some bread and given thanks, he broke it and gave it to them, saying, "This is my body which I have given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." And in the same way he took the cup after they had eaten, saying, "This cup which is poured out for you is a new covenant in my blood. But behold, the hand of the one betraying me is with mine on the table. For indeed the Son of Man is going as it has been determined, but woe to that man by whom he is betrayed." And they began discussing among themselves which one of them it might be who was going to do this thing. And there arose a dispute among them as to which one of them was regarded to be the greatest. And he said to them, "The kings of the Gentiles lord it over them." So the kings of the Gentiles, because of their authority, because of their seat, and also the Pharisees, because of their seat, think they're better than other people. And those who have authority over them are called benefactors. But it is not this way with you. But the one who is greatest among you must become like the youngest, and the leader like the servant. For who is greater, the one who reclines at the table, or the one who serves? Is it not the one who reclines at the table? But I am among you as the one who serves. See, Jesus came to serve. He's so humble. He's God, and he humbled himself to serve them. And that's how we need to be too. "You are those who stood by me in my trials. And just as my Father has granted me a kingdom, I grant you, that you may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom. And you will sit on thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Simon, Simon, behold, Satan has demanded permission to sift you like wheat. But I have prayed for you, that your faith may not fail. And you, once you have turned again," see, he's speaking about him turning away from Jesus and turning back. "Once you have turned again, strengthen your brothers." But he said to him, "Lord, I am ready to go with you both to prison and to death." And he said, "I say to you, Peter, the rooster will not crow today until you have denied me 3 times, until you have denied 3 times that you know me." And he said to them, "When I sent you out without money belt and bag and sandals, you did not lack anything, did you?" See, when he sent them out before, he sent them out just like they were just like children. was going out preaching the gospel, and it was easy for them. They were provided for. They didn't even wear any shoes. And he said to them, "But now whoever has a money belt is to take it along." See, what he's saying here is the coming times. See, Jesus was regarded as a transgressor, as a lawless person. People hated him. Like, he was rejected by that generation. They rejected him. They rejected his teachings, and they were going to reject the disciples as well and try to kill him. And they weren't going to be provided for as before. He was warning them about that upcoming situations that they were about to be in. But now whoever has a money belt is to take it along. Likewise, also a bag. And whoever has no sword is to sell his coat and buy one. But I tell you, first off, before I tell you that this which is written must be fulfilled in me, and he was numbered with transgressors. For that which refers to me has its fulfillment. And they said, "Look, Lord, look, here are 2 swords. And he said to them, "It is enough." Well, we know, if you read the other scriptures, we know the disciples weren't out there using the swords to fight or to really defend themselves, or to fight off arrest or anything like that. They endured a lot of stuff. But what they may have needed, he was just preparing them. Just a little bit of something, maybe for protection, maybe for fighting off animals, robbers. But he didn't want them to fight, and we're going to see that here in a minute. And he came out and proceeded, as was his custom, to the Mount of Olives. And the disciples also followed him. When he arrived at that place, he said to them, "Pray that you may not enter into temptation." And he withdrew from them about a stone's throw, and he knelt down and began to pray, saying, "Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done." Now an angel from heaven appeared to him, strengthening him. And being in agony, he was praying very fervently, and his sweat became like drops of blood falling down to the ground. That's actually a real medical condition. You're stressed out so much that you can sweat blood. When he rose from prayer, he came to the disciples and found them sleeping from sorrow. And he said to them, "Why are you sleeping? Get up and pray that you may not enter into temptation." While he was still speaking, behold, a crowd came, and the one called Judas, one of the 12, was preceding them. And he approached Jesus to kiss him. But Jesus said to him, "Judas, are you betraying the Son of Man with a kiss?" When those who were around him saw what was going to happen, they said, "Lord, shall we strike with a sword?" And one of them struck the slave of the high priest and cut off his right ear. And Jesus answered and said, "Stop, no more of this." See, he didn't want violence. He didn't want them using it for violence. And he touched his ear and healed him. Then Jesus said to the chief priests and the officers of the temple and elders who had come out against him, "Have you come out with swords and clubs as you would against a robber? While I was daily with you in the temple, you did not lay hands on me. But this hour and the power of darkness are yours." Having arrested him, they led him away and brought him into the house of the high priest, but Peter was following at a distance. After they had kindled a fire in the middle of the courtyard and had sat down together, Peter was sitting among them. And a servant girl, seeing him as he sat in the firelight, looked intently at him and said, "This man was with him too." But he denied it, saying, "Woman, I do not know him." A little later another saw him and said, You are one of them too. But Peter said, Man, I am not. After about an hour had passed, another man began to insist, saying, Certainly this man also was with him, for he is a Galilean too. But Peter said, Man, I do not know what you are talking about. Immediately, as he was speaking, a rooster crowed. The Lord turned and looked at Peter, and Peter remembered the word of the Lord, how he had told him, Before a rooster crows today, you will deny me 3 times. And he went out and wept bitterly. Now the men who were holding Jesus in custody were mocking him and beating him, and they blindfolded him and were asking him, saying, Prophesy, who is the one that hit you? And they were saying many other things against him, blaspheming. When it was day, the council of elders and the people assembled, both chief priests and scribes, and they led him away to their council chamber, saying, If you are the Christ, tell us. But he said to them, if I tell you, you will not believe, and if I ask a question, you will not answer. But from now on the Son of Man will be seated at the right hand of the power of God. And they all said, Are you the Son of God then? And he said to them, Yes, I am. That's just a powerful line that stuck out to me. Are you the Son of God then? And he said to them, Yes, I am. Then they said, What further need do we have of testimony? For we have heard it ourselves from his own mouth. That's the end of chapter 22. God bless you guys.